Price action in the market is kind of slow. We are not moving much. But remember, all these actions are happening around the globe. You can see in Canada, you can see in England, you can see India, Europe, New Zealand, Australia, Korea, and a lot of central banks doing the rate hikes. But if you look at this, you'll see like 80 to 85% of all of them doing one thing. They are hiking the rate, but they also suggest that it can remain here or pausing the rate. And some suggest like, okay, this time it's 50, but most likely next time it's going to be lower. So now that is something of interest for the market, right? We'll have to see how the market digests these because the news is actually the narrative shift. Right now, India did last time 50 and this time 35, and they're still talking about hiking. But you can see how it went up and now it is slowing down. And that is consistent with a lot of different central banks around the globe. So this is going to be priced in. And when that will happen, most likely as soon as the US does its turn. So we will literally have to look at how things evolve. And yes, the talk about up to $1,000 XRP all is actually coming. So we need to think about if that's going to be possible. Then on the fundamental side, this is actually really interesting. If you have actually read through this, the point being highlighted here is actually correct, right? If you look at what happened there and what the SEC is doing, it's not inconsistent with anything which would be positive, right? They are completely negative. Then why are we really talking about all these rate hikes and the crypto market? Because above all, crypto market is a market inside this entire retail sector world, right? People, institution, everything is going to be connected because in the last 2 years, there has been a lot of changes, and one of which is the total debt. So the debt cycle this time is showing you a lot. And that is one of the reasons why you need to focus on this area. Now, when the rates go up, it is going to be a big pain. So we are going to look at the price action and what the charts suggest and describe through what you can look forward to. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys learn how to become the next top 10%. So as we look through XRP on a short term, this is what we actually get to see. Yes, the price is bouncing from the 21-day moving average, but we do have a resistance here. So if the price is able to break through this level, now that's actually great. But what if we come here, test that resistance and get rejected? We may come to the downside. So until we break the pattern to the upside or downside, we do not have much in terms of price volatility. Because even when we are doing upside or downside, it's a short-term move. This is a 4-hour chart. Now, keeping that in mind, if you look at the macro scenario for XRP and then go look at the Bitcoin chart on a macro, you get to see how it is responding. But most importantly, looking at the short-term scenario, which is kind of, what we talked about last time, like the price is printing a pattern, which is not bullish. Usually, historically, we have seen this pattern breaking to the downside. If it breaks to the upside, now that's, 35% of the time, which means bulls are getting more and more stronger. And that means it's good. But right now, we don't have that confirmation. We are trying to look at the RSI and see what can happen. So right now, are we close to the support or are we close to the resistance? Yes, we are here close to the resistance. So if we break higher, that's a great news. If not, that is the hard part, right? If not, this is going to come to the downside. So if it is inside this broadening wedge, which is trending to the downside, we may see the price action come down. Unless we stay here some time inside the pattern and we get the news of CPI, which can be surprising this time with the PPI actually coming out higher. Then we have the Fed. So based on all these news which we have seen across the globe, some of these like New Zealand have actually went up with monumental hikes for them, right? They've started it so early and they are doing it even now. Australia is following them. Just Korea goes in line with ECB and others, where they are like, okay, we are doing this hike, but we may not actually be able to do much more because the impact on the households are becoming so much. Why is that? Because we talked about this, right? Now, this varies in different countries. You'll see different percentages everywhere. But say, for example, if you look at Korea, you look at the Korea GDP, and this is what you actually see, $1.79 trillion. Fine. Now, keep that in mind. It's 1.799. So say $1.8 trillion as GDP, and you go to household debt in the same country. And it is really bad, right? You see this? That is almost like a monumental increase and close to the GDP. Now, that's just the household debt. Now you can go look at like the private debt or corporate debt, and you will be surprised. One by one, you will see like how things are evolving, and it is like that's not looking good because right now everything is going up. You saw what Saudi came up with, showing liquidity crises here, and this is from Korea. Suffers corporate debt liquidity crunch. Now this liquidity crisis is everywhere. Now, why are we observing these kind of stuffs in the market? Because these central banks have been doing stuff so rapidly, the market is getting hit hard. If you actually look at how things actually evolve, this is what it looks like. This is just showing you compared to the history. This time it has taken shorter time period and went parabolically to the upside. So there is no wonder the market is getting hit so hard. So now imagine this. You go look at each of these time frame and see when they slowed down, what happened. When they slowed down, what happened to the market. When they slowed down, what happened in the market, right? These are the key factors. So as they slow down, now you will see the sentiment shifting. And that is what we really want to observe, right? Say here, short term, it's understandable. We do have the market uncertainty evolving and it is still waiting for the macro news. But if you actually put that on the weekly, now you're not literally observing a lot of positive stuff, but we still do see that the price is printing a bullish divergence with the RSI. Historically speaking, that has been a positive trend. And then right now you also observe that the price is close to the resistance. So we are waiting for it to break higher. We need something on the macro side to actually get us through that level instead of breaking to the downside. Now, we do have that uncertainty here. The market does not know where we are going to go. If we break to the upside, that is a different story. If we break to the downside, that's an entirely negative story, right? So if this shows you that I'm breaking to the upside, now the price has more opportunity to go test this resistance and then break higher. And if it does, remember last time when we crossed to the downside here, that kind of gave you a confirmation like, okay, we are going somewhat lower. We crossed to the downside, we went back, retested and got rejected. Now this retest has been funny because it actually went through and made an all-time high. So that created a lot of confusion for the market until it actually broke below, retested and got rejected here. Great. Now if we are looking at the market, if we are able to break through the 21-day moving average, something changes and that change may look literally like this. You went to the downside, now you're breaking to the upside and you may go back up. So here when we came to the downside, we had this. So if we are going back to the upside, we may have this. So you imagine it goes up, then it come back. Now before it drops, it may actually test this range and then come back lower before it goes up. Historically, we have seen things like that. And there are times where you make these patterns break to the upside and continue higher. Now, keep that in mind and then look at the altcoin market because that's Bitcoin. But right now, for the side of the altcoins, it's really strong, right? historically speaking, if you look at the Bitcoin dominance, you will actually observe like, okay, whenever we are going down, Bitcoin gains dominance, right? It's been funny this time, it's not. So there is something changing in the market. And remember, this is a weekly chart, right? This is a weekly chart. We've been talking about this from the whole time. Bitcoin dominance is trending lower, trending lower. A lot of projects in the alt sides are coming. Some of them are sticking. They are coming top to the large cap coins. It's getting attention and money. Some like Ripple and XRP as a project is staying there. So Ripple, the company, is doing network building in RippleNet, and they are promoting XRP Ledger, its use cases. It's all good. But understand, they are just one part of the XRP Ledger. And if they are doing like this and all the other new companies are building on top of it, the utility is going to be sky high. And it's not only one asset, right? Like XRP, you'll see a lot of other assets in this ecosystem which will be surviving this bear market kind of stuff and go back up. So right now, you imagine like, okay, this bear market has only one leg down. That is the most confusing part for me, because last time you can see you showed a little bit of downside, you bounced back, got rejected from the trend line, and then started the major drop. So if you put that narrative here, you will see you dropped first, then you bounced back to test the trend line, got rejected, and came down hard. So I'm like, okay, that's this one. Fine. Then you happen to see this movement, which literally was the altcoin moving higher. And this time we did not get that. So somehow something was completely manipulated, and we have been deviating from what we have observed historically. Now, what's the odds that this can actually go higher? Meaning, when this push to the back happens, all coins go back higher. So that's the perspective here. So you now come here, look at the Bitcoin dominance, and you're trying to see like, okay, are we really getting a divergence here? So you are trending to the downside, making lower low consistently at a time where the RSI is suggesting I'm trying to put in a higher low or a double bottom signal. Now, yes, you can go on a monthly and try to see like, okay, that's a long-term bullish divergence being prepared, and you can expect this to go up. So what happens? Bitcoin gets to move higher. Is that consistent with the Bitcoin chart on the macro? I would say yes, because if you are looking at Bitcoin, say even on a weekly or a 3-day, we have already observed a bullish divergence. And that combined with the dominance kind of gives you the picture that, okay, Bitcoin can actually do this move, go test this $30,000 mark. Now, what's really interesting for us is what will the altcoins actually do when that happens? Because on the other side, we just observed, okay, central banks are slowing down. That means when they started hiking, markets started getting hammered. We never thought they were going to do 75 or 100 basis point hikes at a time. And now here we are, they went through all this crazy hike cycle and waiting for the market to go back up at a time when the market is still bad. People are having hard time surviving with this level of inflation, right? So now you go back and you actually look at the trend line, put the same perspective, and there is nothing much to be different about. But if, like last time, Bitcoin is going to go higher and alts are going to follow, you always have managed to see that during the same time, altcoins outperform Bitcoin. So if you say, yes, fine, Bitcoin is actually going towards 30,000, now your perspective will be like, okay, it can actually do 100%. What do you think the altcoins are going to do? So if you actually look at the market, you'll say like, okay, there are different coins outperforming, and I wouldn't consider this one for any matter. And observing 68 million in volume there is, suspiciously great, right? So be careful of those stuff. Now, you come back to this one and you are like, okay, say for example, if Bitcoin actually can do 80 to 100%, what would that actually happen in altcoin? So you plot this to see a major resistance to come resist us. You can literally break through the 100% mark through this resistance. So whenever Bitcoin does this 100%, we know that alts are performing way better than that. And now you get your confirmation of a pattern break to the upside. We have seen that multiple times, but the waiting for that has been increasing, right? Each time that happens, it's a positive signal. Now, if something happened in the market over and over and over again, like 1, 2, 3, and this is the fourth time, don't go bet against it, right? It's always better to understand like what the market has done before and what it is doing right now. So if that's repeating, now we get to take advantage of that. So if we are riding for next 3 months, 6 months, that's all good. Because after that, it's going to be bad stuff. I see on the comment section people getting confused. I'm not saying we are going down next 6 months. What I'm thinking in my thought process is like the central banks, if they're slowing down, that means markets should go up. Now, that is actually consistent with the thought process of dollar dropping and the thought process of the commodities markets going back up. So dollar is actually trending to the downside, even though on the short term it is forming a bullish pattern. If you observe the same asset on a macro, you can literally see it is dropping harder. And you have not been watching this type of a drop in dollar on a weekly basis. You are getting accelerated. And if you go back, you will observe something like that happened here way back, right? So the momentum to the downside for dollar is high. And that was because all the other central banks were hiking even higher or doing much more on the rate hike side and whatever we have seen in the macro, right? Now that we are breaking through this support level, keep your eyes on this range. You're going to see a little bit of retest and a rejection. Now that rejection could actually signal dollar dropping even harder and at the same time observing these going up. Silver right now is at the resistance level. And if it managed to break higher like the MACD and the RSI suggest you, that means you are observing a continuation pattern. Now go back, look at what was the timeline, March 2020 to the top of August 2020. And then the retest of the top, which is Feb 2021. This time, when silver went up, crypto market also went up. So if this is the time when silver is breaking higher, dollar is dropping, central banks are slowing down, and the crypto market showing a breakout signal, most likely you may have something cooking. And it may not be like, next 6 months, because one of the interesting facts which every one of us need to keep in mind is the time which it takes to prepare this kind of run is so bad. And then when it actually comes to the market, the run is actually too short compared to what it was here, right? So putting that into the perspective, you will observe we consolidated long enough and it can be just 80 days, 90 days to the upside, just 3 months. Understand that. And if silver is doing that in a commodity safe haven kind of thing, what will crypto market do? Ask that question to yourself and get positioned well enough. So guys, if you received value for your time, please do hit that like and subscribe button. And if you have 3 to 5 more minutes more, please do visit this channel of mine and listen to one of these videos and inform me how you felt. So that's it guys. I'll meet you on the next video. Bye-bye.